Most people think alcohol is just a drink, something humans created to relax, celebrate, or escape. But what if that's completely wrong? What if alcohol didn't come after civilization? What if it helped create civilization itself? Because the last time you had a drink, you probably didn't think much about it. But in reality, you were taking part in something far older than history, far older than farming, older than writing, and possibly older than humanity itself. Because this story doesn't begin in a brewery. It begins deep in an African forest around 10 million years ago. Picture a small primate moving through the trees. It notices something unusual on the floor's floor. A piece of fruit, overripe, soft, forgotten. But inside that fruit, something is happening. Natural sugars are breaking down. Wild yeast is feeding on it. And fermentation has begun. Alcohol is forming naturally. And when that primate eats it, something unexpected happens. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't die. It feels different, a little calmer, a little warmer, and it comes back for more, again and again. Over millions of years, something strange happens. Our ancestors don't just encounter alcohol, they become drawn to it. Some scientists even believe our biology adapted to process it long before humans fully evolved, meaning the attraction to alcohol may not be cultural at all. It may be ancient programming written into our survival instincts. But here's where the story takes a turn, because at some point, humans stop finding alcohol by accident and start making it on purpose. The question is, when? Then, archaeologists discovered something that changed everything. In a cave in what is now Israel, they found stone tools carved directly into the rock. Inside those tools, chemical traces of wheat and barley, not just stored, not just eaten, but soaked, crushed, and fermented. This wasn't food, it was beer, and it was being made 13,000 years ago. But here's the shocking part. The people who made it weren't farmers. They didn't even have agriculture yet. They were hunter-gatherers, still living off wild plants and animals. So why would people who hadn't even invented farming already be brewing alcohol? That question changes everything we thought we knew about civilization. Because maybe farming didn't start with bread. Maybe it started with beer. And then things get even stranger. About 1,000 years later, in southeastern Turkey, archaeologists uncovered something even more mysterious. Massive stone pillars, some weighing over 10 tons, arranged in perfect circles, carved with detailed animal symbols. This place is called Göbekli Tepe, and it was built before cities existed, before pottery, before farming, before permanent homes. At first, nobody could explain it. Why would nomadic hunter-gatherers move enormous stones uphill just to build this? Then they found something inside the site, stone vats. And inside those vats, chemical traces of fermented grain. This wasn't just a monument. It may have been a gathering place, a place where people traveled long distances, not just to worship, but to feast and to drink. And that leads to one of the most controversial ideas in archaeology. What if alcohol didn't follow agriculture, but caused it? One of the world's leading experts on ancient alcohol, Patrick McGovern, has argued exactly that. His idea is simple. Bread is complicated. You have to grind it, knead it, bake it. But beer is different. You just soak grain in water and walk away. Fermentation does the rest. And the reward was powerful enough to change human behavior. So instead of farming because we needed food, we may have started farming because we wanted something else entirely. Something social, something emotional, something intoxicating. By around 7000 BCE, we finally see clear proof of something even more advanced. In ancient China, archaeologists discovered pottery jars containing residue of a fermented drink. But this wasn't simple alcohol. It was a mix of rice, honey, grapes, and wild berries, a carefully designed recipe. Not accident, intention, human creativity, already at work thousands of years ago. And by the time ancient Egypt rose, alcohol wasn't just a drink anymore. It was life. Workers building the pyramids weren't paid in coins, they were paid in beer. around 4 to 5 liters per day. That was their salary, because water wasn't always safe, but beer was safer. The brewing process killed harmful bacteria, so it wasn't just alcohol. It was survival, it was nutrition, it was energy, it was currency, and even medicine. Doctors mixed herbs into beer and prescribed it for illness, pain, and infection. One drink doing the job of 5 different systems: food, water, medicine, payment, religion, all in a single cup. So when you look at the full picture, it starts to look very different. 10 million years ago, our ancestors were drawn to fermented fruit. 13,000 years ago, humans were already brewing beer before farming existed. 12,000 years ago, they were gathering at massive ritual sites, possibly centered around feasting. 7,000 years ago, they were creating complex alcoholic recipes. And in ancient civilizations, entire societies were built around it. So here's the real question. Did humans invent alcohol, or did alcohol help shape humans? Because every time you have a drink today, you are participating in something far older than civilization, a behavior that may have influenced how we gathered, how we socialized, and possibly how we built the world itself. And it all may have started with a piece of fruit left too long on a forest floor.